a lot, but maybe I need to throw one and keep one in the vehicle.
That's the great idea right there. You keep it in the back somewhere. If you don't wear it, I often do the same thing. If I'm going to go to the mall and it's really cold outside and I'm only going to be outside for 3 or 4 minutes walking to the mall, I don't want to carry a heavy jacket around. So leave it in the car. You may have an older jacket, a big heavy jacket, for those times you go sledding or something like that, when you know you're going to be outside, leave that in your car, leave it in there for the season.
And I love the idea about socks, because I wouldn't thought about your feet. When your feet get wet and get cold, you're going to be cold.
A lot of businessmen, businesswomen, you're on your way to work. You're in a suit and tie. You're wearing some leather dress shoes that, never keep you warm. You've got thin nylon socks on, or if you're a lady, maybe you have, pantyhose or something else on.
Even if you're Russell, he wears a lot of pantyhose, and he talks about how his feet get cold here in the studio. Can you imagine if he's in his car for 12 hours?
I don't want to think about that. So you have that extra pair of socks. So number one, you can put them on your feet, but also if you don't have gloves in the car, you can put them on your hands. You could even, if they're longer, the athletic type socks, you could wrap them around your neck to help keep your neck warm.
Nice.
So there are a lot of things that you can do with the clothing that you have. The blanket, obviously, that's a great thing to do. Now, you need to prepare your car ahead of time. What are your tires like? Are your tires in need of changing? If they're bald, my tires, I have a truck, but I have a half inch of tread on my tires in normal conditions. That's pretty good. But I was sliding in the rain last week. So that tells me, hey, I need new tires. Right. I need to go have a professional take a look at that.
Yeah, and it's always good at beginning of each season to have your car serviced. Make sure your antifreeze is it has the right, what do they call it, where they test to see the freezing point, or what? I'm sure there's some automotive term that I wouldn't know.
I don't either.
No, I still put gas in the trunk. So see, I don't, but do that, like you said, prepared, because we've had a mild winter so far, and it happens every year and no one seems to remember. We do have a mildness around winter, and then all of a sudden one day somebody flips on the light switch and it's winter.
Yes.
In Chattanooga.
Another big one is your washer fluid. A lot of times people have the summer blend in there, which is whatever was left over from last winter. Plus I just fill it up with water. Yeah. And that probably needs to be drained out for the winter time. If you're having to go out to your car, it's been frozen over here a lot lately. And if you're squirting the washer fluid on your window and it's freezing, it's time to change the washer fluid, because you don't want that. You want to be able to squirt that on your windshield and have the ice go away.
Yeah. Last Christmas, not this past Christmas, in Christmas of 2014, someone gave me one of the scrapers, and it's the long stick scraper on one side, and on the other side is a brush. Well, had the big snow pop in one day. I was at the office, didn't even think about it. I thought people were going crazy. I go out and there's about 4 inches of snow on my car. Well, I can tell you, the scraper was nice. I didn't quite need it yet, but the brush sweeping the snow off your windshield, sweeping it off your the front of your car so your car can warm up quicker is really nice. Now, those things are about $8 or $9, and I guarantee you the first snow, they're going to pay for itself.
Absolutely. Another thing that's good for is if the snow is deep and you're stranded in that thick snow, you need to clear the area where your tailpipe is. You want to make sure your exhaust is leaving the vehicle. So another thing that little brush can be used for. Maintain your car. Always keep at least a half a tank of gas in it. That makes sure that you can go a long distance. But, hey, this is Chattanooga. Just look at the regular traffic. There's been times when I was driving from one end to the other, and it took me 2 hours on the interstate to go 10 miles, and I used over a quarter tank of gas. And so if you're stranded, if it's overnight and people can't get to you, you're going to need that gas in your car.
Yeah, because it's the only way really you're going to be able to keep warm, more than likely, where you're going to turn it off, turn it back on and stuff like that. Or if you're not moving. But if you're moving, of course, you may take longer, like you said.
Right. Also, what about medication? If you're taking prescription medication, you may want to keep an extra dose, maybe a day's worth of medication in that kit. So that way, if you are stranded, you can still take your regular medications, whatever dietary challenges you may have. You can adjust your food that you put in there based on that, as well as the medications that you take.
Now, you sell kits at P5?
We do. We have some great first aid kits. First aid kits are great for any emergency, but I really haven't found I call it like an over-the-counter. If you go to a big box store, if you go to Walmart or something and you buy a first aid kit.
It's mainly Band-Aids.
Band-Aids, you can put a little bit of ointment on there, but if you spend time.
Your first aid kit's more than just Band-Aids, correct?
Our first aid kits are for a much more significant injury. Yeah. You could handle gunshot wounds. You could handle broken arms, broken legs.
And a broken ankle or arm, if it's slick outside, could happen in a hurry.
You need to be prepared. One of the things that, in addition to having that first aid kit, you need to have first aid training. At P5, we offer first aid CPR and AED classes for certification through the National Safety Council. We're also planning.
What is the AED, not ADD?
I'm sorry.
Because you could teach the ADD classes, but what's the AED classes? The American?
The AED is the defibrillator.
Oh, okay,
so that you can get trained. The AED, automatic external defibrillator, right. Businesses have those. Those are good. A lot of times you put that on and it'll tell you if the person is actually having a heart attack and you need to have perform CPR, or more often than not, that will tell you that there is a disruption of the heart, that the heart is still beating, but the person may just need rescue breathing. So that class is very important. The certification lasts for 2 years. There's a lot of businesses and professionals that need that certification, and we can provide that for you. And so you can get that training at P5 Preparedness. We're located on East Brainerd Road between Gun Barrel and I-75 on exit 3A to get there.
Where the big Army truck is.
You can't miss it.
I know if you've turned and gone down Gun Barrel Road and you're going East Brainerd Road, like you're going to Gun Barrel from 75, I guarantee you on the right-hand side, you've seen the big deuce-and-a-half Army truck that sits up there like a proud American would.
If you want, about 3 or 4 times a year, we have some sort of event where we're giving rides on it, and we'll even bring it to your birthday party. Your second graders having a party, we'll bring the big truck over. So we're open Monday through Saturday, 10 to 7. You can learn about our classes on our website, p5preparedness.com, but probably the best place to find out what we do is on Facebook. We've got a ton of followers. We always list our classes there. The next class that we have is this Saturday. It's a ham radio class, and that's an amateur radio license. For some communication, you actually have to have a license that's issued by the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission. That license, it's $10 to get the license, but it allows you to do so many things. The government really does not do anything other than issue you a certificate and wait 10 years for you to tell them that you've recertified. If you're not doing anything illegal activities would be things like advertising a business. The point of this, it is amateur radio. It's for hobbyists and it's for emergency situations. So it's really a great tool for people to have. If you're in preparedness, communication is one of the keys that you have to have. And so this is one of the steps that you can take to where you can communicate with the outside world. This is a 2-meter ham license. That's not what it's called. It's called the technician license, but it allows you to communicate on the 2-meter band, where if you're not familiar with radio, that's okay with the ham bands and stuff. It doesn't matter. You buy the radio, the 2-meter radio from us, and it covers the frequencies that you can talk on.
And one thing I think is cool, if you buy a radio from you guys, y'all program it for them.
We do. We will put in all the frequencies within about 100-mile radius of Chattanooga. So if you're driving, you can tune to the different stations to hear what's going on those stations or the repeaters that are in that area. Another thing that is great about amateur radio is that it's used, as I said, in emergency communications. Emergency communications could be for tornadoes. The Skywarn network, the storm spotters, those are all volunteers. And what would happen is if somebody is out in Eastridge, if you're a member of the Eastridge Fire Department and you are out doing storm spotting duties and you see a funnel cloud or a tornado, you would report that to Skywarn, and the National Weather Service is listening to that. They will hear that report. And the news, the television news crews they'll be monitoring Skywarn, and they will hear those spotters report. And so you will hear that report at the same time. Well, when you're hearing it live on the ham radio, it's going to be another minute or two for the weather people to get that report out over the air. So you are having a little bit of an advance notice for when that warning is coming out. Maybe a minute or two delay because they've got to get the graphics ready. They've got to wait for something else, for the National Weather Service to put out the official warning. But you're hearing that from a trained person that is seeing that on the ground. And when they're listening, they will give you the exact location. They'll say, I am at East Brainerd Road and I-75, and I am looking to the west and I see this. Or they'll report on damage or something. And, hey, there's a tree down on Ottawa Ringgold Road, and that's blocked. Well, you can hear those transmissions live, and you can make adjustments, because that's one of the things that we do. We want people to have a plan. And communication allows you to modify that plan based on the information that you have. So to sum up what I'm saying, everybody should have a ham radio license who is involved with preparedness, because you're going to need to get that information. So this class on Saturday, it starts at noon. It's till about 5 or 6. The class includes the instruction. It includes the book. And you also can take the class right there at P5. We have the proctors that come in. These are the experts. They're authorized by the FCC to do the testing. They're there to help you. And it's one of the best ways to get your feet on the ground with preparedness.
Also, give me your Facebook page and Twitter account too.
Facebook is just P5 Preparedness, and Twitter is the same thing, P5 Preparedness, right there on Twitter. We put a lot of information out. Facebook, great way to learn about our classes. Every Thursday night from 6:45 until 9 o'clock or so. Sometimes it goes a lot later. We have a network meeting that's open to the public. We ask that you call ahead just to make sure that we have enough seats for everybody that's coming. But again, open to the public. It's not a class, it's a discussion. We will lead the discussion on, it could be on.
That's tonight?
Yeah, it's tonight. And the topic could be on bug out bags. What's a bug out bag? What do you put in a bug out bag? What do you need it for?
And it has nothing to do with bugs.
It does not have
the bug out as I got to get out of here in a hurry.
Right. Yeah. Bug out bags are an important part of it.
And the discussion, and that's tonight. What, 6:30, 6 or 6:30?
6:45.
6:45. Come and be part of that. If you're just remotely interested, or maybe you've driven by and you've seen the big truck sitting up there on East Brainerd Road and you say, what is that? I'd like to it's going to be able to go in a very casual, almost like a networking session, where you can find out exactly what's going on in the community and exactly, what are your interests? Because it's like anything else with preparedness. There are certain parts that are probably you're going to be more interested in than the others. So it'd be a great time to come in, say hello to everybody, and meet some like-minded folks.
In those meetings, we're not interested in who you are. We don't ask for anything more than a first name, and you don't even have to give your real name. People have nicknames. We respect your privacy. We don't take video. We don't record the audio portion of it. We don't take pictures. We don't talk about politics. We don't talk about religion. We don't talk about illegal activities. But what we do talk about is prepping. And so if we put out that the topic is on bug out bags, well, that topic may only last for an hour. Well, we're not going to cut off discussion. Somebody may have another topic about water. How do I accumulate water? How do I prepare water? Things like that.
And it's a very casual setting. It's almost, it's like a bunch of friends or, like-minded people.
We've had a lot of relationships that have blossomed from that meeting, where 4 or 5 different groups of people in different areas like Cleveland or Ringgold or North Georgia or further away, they will start sort of pairing up, getting to know each other, and then they will form a team or a mutual aid group. And that's what this thing really is all about. Our patriotic duty is to help one another. And so when we come back after the break, we're going to talk a little bit about the militia thing that's going on in Oregon. We'll talk a little bit about the Obama gun control attempt. Really good news for Tennesseans.
Barack Hussein Obama, the Muslim in chief?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not going into the nicknames there.
That's me. That has nothing to do with P5.
But if you're a Tennessean, there's really good news about what's happening or what has happened with the change that Obama is presenting to us. Like I said, there's hope. There's good news. We're not going to worry about it. This is Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240. I'm Duke Nukem, and we'll be back in a minute.
Hey, have you ever used Meetup?
Starting over. I'm doing a new show. I want guys who push it to the middle of the table and go over the top. Take a risk, fail miserably. I'm right, and I'm not wrong, and I'll never back down. Conflict works. Allow it.
It's The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Right here and everywhere. Noon Eastern.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds. We'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
On your signature, you can get $150,000. Can you believe that? $150,000 on your signature. Hi, I'm Bruce Krebs with the Entrepreneur Source. There's a program right now that you can get $150,000 on your signature with no pledge of collateral or personal guarantee. Call me at 423-875-5621 to learn more. 423-875-5621. You've been thinking about starting a business and becoming self-sufficient. Don't do it on your own. I have a proven track record for the last 13 years. 96% success rate. I can guide you into a franchise where you will pay yourself through the startup phase with very low or little risk. Call me now. I'm Bruce Krebs at 423-875-5621. 875-5621. And make sure to listen to the Entrepreneur Hour every other Wednesday from 11 to 12 o'clock here at AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. Call me now, 875-5621.
While politicians debate climate change and taking our guns, they leave America vulnerable to disaster. You need to act now to keep your family safe and prepared. Do you have an emergency plan? Do you have long-term storage food? Do you have the skills and mindset to survive a disaster? If not, what are you waiting for? Call P5 Preparedness right now, 423-602-2175. Do you honestly think the government is going to help you? If you do, you are wrong, dead wrong. Don't get caught unprepared. Let the experts at P5 Preparedness get you ready for any emergency or disaster situation. Today, we offer a wide range of classes for the beginner on how to prepare, as well as the expert prepper. We stock a wide range of supplies, including long-term storage food, water filtration, outdoor gear, tactical gear, and plate carriers. P5 Preparedness, East Brainerd Road between I-75 and Gun Barrel Road. You will see the Army Deuce and a Half truck, 423-602-2175, 1309 Panorama Drive, Chattanooga, P5Preparedness.com.
Have you ever thought about starting your own business? Trying to figure out which one may be right for you is a very daunting task. My name is Bruce Krebs with the Entrepreneur Source, and I can help you look at franchises or business opportunities that are a right fit for you and the economy that we live in, and that are right for the greater Chattanooga area, both demographically and competitively. If you would just like to learn more about the opportunities that may be right for you, please call me for a free assessment. My phone number is 423-875-5621. 423-875-5621.
You have an event coming up for the holidays, or maybe it is your daughter's wedding, or maybe just a church or office party, then you need to select Choo Choo Barbecue. That's correct, Choo Choo Barbecue. Whether you like pork, chicken, or beef, oh yes, Choo Choo Barbecue with their savory rub flavor. Oh my goodness, it's making me hungry right now. You add in their delicious smoked aroma, and you have set the table for a perfect meal with Choo Choo Barbecue. That's right, Choo Choo Barbecue. Why don't you give them a call right now? 423-843-9554. That's 843-9554. Call 423-843-9554. Choo Choo Barbecue. You know where it's located, off of Hickson Pike, right there at the Valley Brook area. Don't kid yourself. Your stomach is already on the way.
Don't be a victim.
Arm yourself today at Carter Shooting Supply and Indoor Range, offering the finest selection of personal firearms and ammo, especially the hard-to-find ammunition. You know the police can't protect you. They show up after the crime is committed. The ability to protect yourself, your family, and when called upon, your nation is enshrined in the United States Constitution. Shop the largest selection of shooting supplies on their online store. CarterShootingSupply.com. Carter Shooting Supply and Indoor Range. The largest and cheapest selection in Chattanooga. 6210 Highway 58, Harrison. Call 344-1099. That's 344-1099. Keep your family safe by buying them a certificate for Carter Shooting Supply Tennessee Handgun Permit Class. And stop by today to consult one of their qualified experts. They'll fit you perfectly to the firearm that meets your needs. Call 344-1099. You'll always find the widest selection of new and used firearms at Carter Shooting Supply and Indoor Range. 6210 Highway 58, Harrison. Call 344-1099.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
Fox News Talk 1240.
AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio with your Hot News Now update. If you were looking forward to the Ottawa High School basketball season, we have bad news. Hamilton County School Superintendent Rick Smith announced on Wednesday night that the cancellation was necessary to help aid the investigation into the rape case involving 3 students and a 15-year-old teammate. Hamilton County will be moving forward on the replacement of the downtown jail. The commission voted to spend up to $460,000 with the public financial management firm that's looking at whether the county should place any more prisoners with a private jail firm and reduce the county operation. A man named Ringgold has been charged with aggravated animal cruelty after his ex-wife says he threw a kitten against a concrete wall, killing it. The ex-wife says that the kitten hit the wall so hard that it bounced off the wall and landed nearly in the middle of the room. The Marine recruiter who was shot in the leg will be receiving a Purple Heart. Sergeant DeMonte Chile was wounded on July the 16th when a terrorist fired upon the recruiting center. If it's going on in the Tennessee Valley, it's going on Hot News Talk Radio.
When the weather turns bad, turn to AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. On the net, hotnewstalkradio.com. Follow us on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. From the Hot News Talk Radio Weather Center. Chattanooga, we've got you covered. When the weather turns bad, the Tennessee Valley turns to Hot News Talk Radio.
Go, 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 go. You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
Fox News Talk 1240.
We're back. This is the Patriot Prepper Show with Duke Nukem. Lots been in the news lately about militias, about patriots. There's a lot of stuff going on. The thing that's catching the most news right now is going on out in Oregon, where a militia or a patriot group, they get called different things. They've taken over they say they've taken over a federal building. Well, I think of a federal building as a courthouse in a major
looks like
city.
a log cabin.
This is the office of a wildlife refuge. Most wildlife refuges don't have a lot of people, because the wildlife refuge there is to protect the wildlife. It's not there as a tourist attraction. There's probably a few park rangers there, probably no more than 10 or 12 people actually work at that thing. So there's not that many people there. Well,
And now why have they taken over? Let's tell the listener, because our listener may be working and hadn't kept up with this.
There are 2 family members that are in that area there of Oregon who were concerned about the amount of brush that was on their property. They own a couple hundred acres or something. I don't know the actual amount, but you know, if you've probably heard about the wildfires that happen out in the West, they're getting out of control. And a lot of that is because the federal government has decided on some sort of natural progression.
They do not want to clear the brush.
So it just builds up. And the thing is that these brush fires have occurred naturally over, hundreds of years. They happen from lightning strikes, and then they'll burn a couple hundred thousand acres, and they'll burn themselves out. Well, the federal government no longer wanted that to happen, and rightfully so. If it's going to damage property or things like that, you got to intervene. But the thing is that they quit doing it, so this underbrush builds up to where there are these massive fires. So a father and son in Oregon decided they were going to do some backfires on their own property, and they lit the fires. They burned the undergrowth on their property. Well, they back up to national forest land, to federal land. The fire got out of control, went onto that property. So to wrap this thing up, the brothers, or the son and the father, were sentenced to prison. They served their time. The father, I think, served 3 months. The son served a year in prison. And then they got out of prison 5-6 years ago. And recently, a federal judge decided they didn't serve enough time. So they've been sent back to prison for, I think, another 4 years. So 9
years for burning federal land.
Right.
Like 200 and something acres, correct?
I believe so. I don't think it was that much.
I mean, but they should not be able to get out.
They,
what is wrong with it?
They admitted what they did. It was an accident. And so they were hammered with the law.
I understand that.
But, if we blow up a hospital in Afghanistan,
or if they blow up a hospital here, or if they attack the World Trade Center, we let them out of Gitmo.
Right.
Okay. I'm piecing this together. And it makes no sense, but that's okay.
So the Bundys, they're the ones that have come into this.
They're not kin to Ted.
Say again?
They're not kin to Ted Bundy.
No.
Okay.
Thankfully, I don't think. I didn't do that kind of research. This group has come in from other parts to support these two family members. It turns out that the two family members that were sent back to prison didn't want their help, and they've actually voluntarily gone back to prison. Well, you still have this group of people, and I don't know if it's 12 people or 300. They've taken over this federal building, and they're demanding certain things. And they said they will fight. They don't want violence, but they're prepared to defend themselves. This isn't what the Patriot movement is about, in my perspective. The Patriots get a bad name. They get associated with everything that's bad. And if you look at the definitions that the government has given, if you are a veteran, if you are a gun owner, if you're a Christian, if you're a conservative, there's a few other ones in there, but you're considered a potential terrorist. We're on the danger list. So I think it's important that we understand our rights and understand the names that we're being called. And, if I don't stand and march with the Black Lives Matter group, well, then I'm possibly perceived as a racist. Well, now I'm considered a terrorist, and now I'm considered a militia member. Well, we need to get over those names, and we just need to stand up for what is right. And we need to back our brothers and sisters in our fights when they make sense, when they're the right things to do, when we are truly defending the Constitution.
Well, it's pick your battles type thing. Is that a battle that's going to make a huge difference in putting this country back on the right track?
I don't have an answer for that. I don't think any of us do. And this Oregon situation is one where it could go either way. I've heard that special forces troops, FBI hostage rescue teams, all these groups are going to go out there and end this thing. Well, I don't think that's the right thing to do either. I hope those militia guys are not wanting that to happen. That won't go well for them.
And I would agree. You have to win the public. And is that winning the public on either side, on the government side or on their side? PR is important no matter what you do. And getting your message out in a positive PR way that people will think about it, accept it, is very important. And that's what people have done on the opposite side of this issue a lot better than people like yourself, a patriot there. People like you, not you. I think you do a great job of expressing there.
The trouble is that you have to know what you're up against. You have to know what the goals are. In preparedness, one thing that we always talk about is the plan. You have to have a proper plan, and you have to think of the long-term consequences. You have to think of down the road. We talked earlier about what you need in your car if you have to leave. Well, there's things that you have to plan ahead of time. If you've left the house and you don't have that jacket in your car, you're going to get cold. What if it does break down and you haven't planned ahead? So the planning is very important. And so I'm not sure these guys have thoroughly thought this thing out. Well, one thing that I want to talk about, we talked about the car. We talked about what you need in it for bad weather.
I hope you're going to talk. Please tell me, because I had someone, we were off there, they tweeted me and they said, here's the exact tweet. there's no way I'd put bugs in a bag and carry them with me. And I was like, well, I think they've got that wrong. So what is the bug out bag?
The bug out bag is what you take with you when you leave your house for good. You have to be prepared for what you're going to take with you. The first part of bugging out, before you even have the bag, is what's the plan? Where are you going? You have to have a plan for that.
Now, P5, do y'all have like a checklist or, for a bug out bag? I know you sell them.
We do. We have a class on bugging out.
Oh.
And you can sign up for the class. We'll tell you how you pack a bug out bag. We'll tell you the things that you need. Another name for the bug out bag is a 72-hour bag. And the idea is that bag is going to last you for 72 hours at least. So where does that come in handy? If there's a boil water order at your house, or if there is tornado damage in your neighborhood or something, for whatever reason you have to leave, you are going to be gone for 72 hours. So you need things like in there, like your prescription medication. You need a first aid kit. You need food. You need water. You need a water filter. You might need some tools. Maybe it's a multi-tool. You might need security. You might need a knife or a gun. Everybody needs guns all the time. You should have guns under your pillows. You should have them in the car. You should have them on your hip, on your ankle.
You have one on your dog, actually, don't you, do?
She actually has a concealed carry permit.
That's good. I like that. I like, what? Of all the advice you've given, I like that you should always have a gun with you.
I have a bug out bag for my dog because I'm not carrying. Important. She's a smart dog and she has to eat. She needs water so she can carry it herself. But that was prepared. That was a plan. I didn't have room in my bug out bag for all of my dog stuff. And she's an important part of my plan because she's trained in security.
Bug out classes?
The bug out bag class is about once a month. It depends on the need. If we have more people signing up, we will schedule another class. But on average, each of our classes is offered at least once a month.
Great time of year because, hey, you got the national championship game is almost here. The Super Bowl's almost here. What are you going to do in that downtime? There's no football.
A lot of people
need to go to P5 and go to the workshop.
A lot of people have their bug out bag in their car or truck already. Well, you know what? It's time to switch from your summer bag to your winter bag. In the winter bag, you can put healthier foods in there that last longer because you don't have to deal with the high temperatures. Most foods are designed to do well in colder temperatures.
We're on Periscope right now, and we have a question just come in from Periscope, and they would like to know what would be the best kind of food to keep in a bag that would last.
That's a tough one to answer because I like fruits, I like vegetables. So there are snack mixes that are really good. You can make your own trail mix out of a combination of foods, but you want something that's going to be high in protein, high in calories that fits if you have any dietary restrictions. They have a lot of those types of foods.
You probably wouldn't want trail mix if you have a peanut allergy.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Yep. You can get meals ready to eat. Those are those nice things that are in the big brown packages. They're very, I would say, temperature resistant. They last a long time. If they're kept in a cool, dry place, they can last up to 5 years and longer. So the MREs, the meals ready to eat, that's what our soldiers eat overseas. And one of those can, realistically, it could last you 24 hours if you're just sitting around. Because they have about 5,000 or 6,000 calories. So if you're carrying a large pack, or if you're sweating, if you're working hard, you're going to need 1 or 2, possibly 3 of those in a day. Most soldiers will get either 1 of 2 per day for their activities.
And talking about the bug out bag, what do you suggest? You suggest a backpack or just a bag you carry? I mean, when you're doing your class, what do y'all present as your bug out bag?
It is a backpack, and you need it to be fitted to you. It has to fit your needs. It should be of a sturdy type material, a quarter of nylon or something. It shouldn't be just a weekend camping backpack because you are going to have to be walking with that. It should have a waist pad, something that fits around your waist. It has shoulder straps. It has a sternum strap around the front of it. So that way you can carry your stuff and it'll be secure. This area is not all flat. We're not in a desert where, you're not always going to be walking on a road. You might be walking through trees, over streams.
Well, plus you need your hands free, don't you? You might have to have a flashlight or.
Well, you should be carrying, if this is the time when you're bugging out, you should be carrying a rifle, and you're going to need both hands for that, or you're going to need a flashlight.
Right.
If you're just out for hiking, obviously, just planning, preparing. If you're just traveling around on the weekends, hiking is a great activity.
I got to break in and say somebody on Periscope wants to know where you can buy MREs.
MREs, they're getting harder to find. We have some MREs at P5 Preparedness.
And where is that, Duke?
P5 Preparedness is located on East Brainerd Road. It's between Gun Barrel and I-75 on exit 3. You go off of exit 3A, you go up the hill for about a half mile. And on the right side of the road, you'll see the big deuce and a half Army truck.
I guarantee if you've been on that part of Brainerd Road, East Brainerd Road, you've seen the truck.
Our address is 1309 Panorama Drive, and we're in Suite 115. And so that's at the corner of Panorama Drive and East Brainerd Road. Hours are 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Saturday, and occasionally we have classes on Sunday. So we have the meals ready to eat. We have Mountain House foods. Those are in packages. We have number 10 cans, but for a bug out bag, you'd want to go with the smaller pouch. The Mountain House pouches are fantastic. They really taste good. A lot of the storage foods that you put up, they're not going to taste as good as the Mountain House packages. We have a Boy Scout troop.
That is an important question, and we've talked about this off the air. How does the stuff taste? I mean, I'm sure some stuff tastes better than others. It's like, my cooking tastes wonderful and great, and Russell's tastes like, well, I can't say that word on the air. But okay, so you've got, tell me, do they taste decent? Do they taste good? What do they taste like?
I think the average for the most of them, I would say 90%, and I've had about 90% of them. There's a few things that I don't like. I don't particularly like seafood, and they have shrimp in a couple of them, so I haven't eaten that. But again, 90% I would say taste good to really good. And they're very easy to prepare, where you would pour about 2 cups of boiling water into the pouch. You stir it, you seal the pouch up, and you let it sit for 5 minutes. And then after 5 minutes, you open it up, you stir it a little bit more. And what is happening is the food that's in there, the rice, the noodles, the beans, the meats that are in there, they're absorbing that hot water. They're reconstituting, because most of these are freeze-dried or dehydrated, one of the two. And so that water that you've poured in is being absorbed. And for the most of them, I found that I just like to add a little bit of pepper and salt to them, and they are tasty. They're tasty. It's not something that you have to hold your nose to choke it down. It's nothing like that. And I've eaten those kind of things.
Right. But you have to hold your nose to choke down, or
not
the good stuff.
So, I've been over to people's houses for holidays, and the food, you have to hold your nose and choke down. The Mountain House foods that I've had are very good.
Okay. I've got another question here from Periscope, and we are live on Periscope. And it says, what is the best type of water filter to make water out of the mud puddle water, whatever? What's the best type, in your opinion, to have?
The one, it's a relatively new filter. It's by Sawyer. They have a couple of ones. The Sawyer Mini sells for about $25. They guarantee this filter for 100,000 gallons of water. 100,000 gallons is about 3 backyard in-ground swimming pools. 100,000 gallons of water. Compared with the Life Straw, which is about the same price, on average, that will get about, I think, 350 gallons is what it's rated for. The Sawyer Mini, it comes with a straw, but it also comes with a water bag, or you could use a bottle, a 20-ounce drink bottle that you can squeeze the water out, and you can go that route with it. And so you can hook it into a hydration backpack.
Right.
Like if you have the
camel pack.
Exactly. It goes right in line with that. There's a larger one that's about $70 that is guaranteed for 1 million gallons of water. And with that one, you can drill a hole into a bucket, hook it up to that. It has a spigot. It's gravity fed. And 1 million gallons of water.
That's a lot of water.
That's a lot of water. And so that really helps when you need to store water. You have that.
And water is the most important. I know people think, well, it's snowing outside. There's plenty of snow. I'll melt some water down. But I mean, that's one thing you can't do with that. You can skip a meal or two.
You cannot live without longer than 3 days without water. And in a survival situation, we recommend people store 2 gallons of water per person per day. And so if you have a family of 5, that's 10 gallons of water per person. That's a lot of water. I mean, just to have a 10-day water supply for a family of 5, think about the storage space. How many 55-gallon drums are you going to need for that?
I have a question from Periscope too. It says,
just one second before the next question. With the water filter, if you have a creek nearby, or if you put in a catchment system to catch water coming out of your gutters off the roof, you don't have to store that much water inside. You can just filter it as it comes in. So that water filter is so important.
They want to know if you can buy any of these products online.
Yes, you can. They're available at the P5 Preparedness website. I believe we also have them on our Amazon store. But either way, if you can't find it directly online, if you want, you can call the store. The phone number is area code 423-602-2175, 423-602-2175. And we will be happy to help you get you the water filter or any other product that we have that you need.
And give that website one more time.
The website is p5preparedness.com. And you can also find us on Twitter and also on Facebook at P5 Preparedness. Letter P, number 5, Preparedness.
And that's .com.
.com. So we're talking a little bit, we've talked about the bug out bag, the things that need to go in it. One thing that is also important is you need to be able to heat up your water. You want to cook the foods that you have. So we recommend that you have a multi-fuel stove to go with that, because if it's raining, first, I think everybody needs to have good bushcraft skills. Everybody should be able to start a fire. Everybody should be able to start a fire about 5 different ways.
Okay.
There's about 10 different ways that you can go out there. And, hey, one of those ways is with a lighter. But, you should also know how to do it other ways.
If you don't have a lighter.
If you don't, have a magnesium block and a ferrocerium rod and a knife. And if you don't know what those are, we do. We have primitive survival skills. We teach what I call campcraft, because there are some bushcraft activities that are very difficult. They're more at the expert level. And then there are some camping activities that are kind of getting lost. How to
actually go out in the field and when you're doing these?
We do. Yeah.
Oh,
it's
cool.
a 2-day class.
Nice.
You go out in the woods and you're roughing it. We do have a nice, I don't know, handmade outhouse.
Right.
So you don't have to do your business just over a tree stump.
Yeah.
We're not that
catalog,
primitive.
Is that correct?
Usually prepper magazines.
There you go.
And, but these classes are very important to know how to have these skills. Another thing that I want to talk to about really quickly is a couple of things. When David was talking about the show, he was talking about the part of bugging in, about SWAT team dynamic entry. That's in a subject of bugging in. I don't think we're going to get to that topic today. But for home security, for those of you that are going to want to stay at your house, first of all, the very first thing you need to do, even if you're planning on staying, is you have to have a plan on leaving, because something may happen that you have to leave your home. So don't think just because you're planning on staying home that you're going to be there the whole time. You may have to leave. But I want you to go to YouTube, and I want you to do a search for dynamic entry, or maybe another term would be SWAT entry. That's looking at how quickly those guys can get into your house. And there are a few videos. There was one of my favorites that it's favorite, but it's a horrible video. But in 6 seconds, the police officers broke down the door and they shot and killed the suspect that was sitting on the couch in 6 seconds from the people not knowing anything. This guy didn't even know they were there. 6 seconds, they shot him dead. Well, it was the wrong house. It was the wrong man that they shot and killed.
So you need to make preparations so that they can't just pop in your home like that.
And the point isn't for the police. Police make mistakes. They hit the wrong door. But the thing is that, yes, the thing is, in a bad situation, if it's a grid down situation where if the power is out, if we've lost the rule of law, if there's mass rioting and looting, If you in that situation, if you've decided to stay in your house, you need to know how to keep the bad guys out. And so within 6 seconds of somebody breaking your door down, you really don't have time to go to the drawer and get the gun or load the shotgun.
Yeah.
You need to buy yourself some time. And there's some things, if you watch these videos and if you plan, you can learn how to barricade that door for really about $10. Might be kind of ugly, but if you don't have to do it now, if
But
you're not having company
to cover that, won't it?
Yes. The thing is that if you can buy even 30 seconds or 20 seconds to go get your gun to protect yourself in the house, that is key. You got to learn how to bug in properly. That's one of the things that we want to teach you at P5 Preparedness. We want to teach you the skills that you need to survive. But it's not just survival. To me, there's a difference between preparedness and survival. In preparedness, I'm going to store food so that way, and the tools, the cooking equipment, so that way I have food available for my family that'll last for days, weeks, or months. That's preparedness, planning ahead of time. Survival is that I look for that roadkill possum that's on the street, and I got to eat it. I don't want that. I want to be prepared. Let us at P5
You don't
Preparedness.
want to just survive, you want to be prepared.
I don't want to survive. I want to thrive.
Meeting tonight, right?
Meeting tonight, 6:45. Not sure exactly what the topic is, but you can't live without the information. It's very valuable.
East Brainerd Road, if you're getting off 75 and you're going toward Gun Barrel, which is east, the big Deuce and a Half truck is on the right, and that's where the meeting's going to be.
Call Hot News Talk Radio. Let them know that Duke Nukem needs 2 hours for his show. Looking for you next Thursday. Have a great week.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and